Hey there, welcome back friends. Let's proceed further from where we have left. In our last video we have implemented this form, and in this video we will try to implement the business logic behind the update information form. So let's get started. Now this particular view is getting generated by taking help of the form by the name of list_files.jsp. Here is the file, and if we recall it properly, then this is the variable form which is responsible for printing the form on this view. Now friends, in here there is a catch. Inside this variable we also have a yet another variable, right? So whenever we are initializing this particular variable, before initializing it, definitely we need to also initialize the file ID. Then only the file ID value would be reflected inside this particular text, this particular form. So how to fix this? Definitely we need to cut this information from here. Let me get rid of this scriptlet, and we need to paste it in here. Alright, and let me also get rid of this particular line. We don't need it right away. We will use the form in some time. Let me fix things a little. Alright, now here is our form variable which we are adding, which is cool stuff. But before this, we will initialize this file ID as well. So let us do that. So in here, we will type in file ID equals file.getID. Now this is very important. In fact, if we are not initializing this variable, then the value of file ID would be 0 in here. So this is very important. The sequencing is very important. Now again, let me type in out.print in here, and inside the pair of parentheses, let us add in table data and let us print this form. Alright, so this will have no impact on the form, but in the background the IDs will be updated. Alright, so now let's move in, and now let me also show you one thing. Whenever we are clicking on this update button, then we will submit this form to the doPost method. Why to the doPost method? Because the method used in here is post. But in order to add in the action, we need to also add a yet another hidden field. Now what is this action, and why we are talking about this? Let me show you the servlet real quick. So if I show you the servlet, then here is the doPost method. So inside our doPost method we have this parameter action, and using this action only we will identify that which particular method needs to be called for which form. So as a result, let us navigate to the JSP file. We have to add in a yet another hidden field. Let me show you. So in here, inside this hidden field, we will add in action value. So the name would be action, and we will add in the value as update information. Alright, so this is cool. So whenever we will submit this form, we will have the file ID, and we will also have this action variable by the name of update information. Now inside our doPost method, we will read this action, and based on this action we will call in the appropriate method. So let me add in a case in here real quick. So the case would be definitely update information, and in here we will call in a method by the name of update information, and we will pass on request and response object as well. Here we go, and definitely we will also add in the break statement. Alright, now as soon as we call in this particular method, Eclipse will start complaining because this particular method is not available. So we will hover upon this error, and we will ask Eclipse to create this method. Here we go. So the method is created, and let me cut this method from here, and we will paste it after the doGet method. That would be a better placement. Here we go. Now inside this particular update information method, we will add in the business logic. Now the business logic is rather very simple. First of all, we need to create a couple of variables. First variable would be file ID, and it would be a int entity. So it would be int file ID equals request dot get parameter and the name of the parameter is file ID, right? What are the parameters? The parameters are nothing but these input field, and the name needs to be very specific. So the first name is like file ID, then we will also read label and caption. All right, so in here, first of all, we will read file ID, and as soon as we try to like read the file ID, there would be a type mismatch error. If we hover upon this, it will say change type of field ID to string, because this particular statement returns string. So let us parse this string to a int entity. So it would be like integer parse int, and inside the pair of parentheses we will like cut this particular part and we will paste it in here. So whatever string information we receive will be converted into a integer element. All right, so that's one thing. Then we will accept label, so it would be again request dot get parameter, and parameter would be label. Let me copy this particular line and paste this once again, and in here we will read caption. Alright, so this looks good to me. And once we have this information, we can like create an object real quick. So it would be like files file equal new file. And if I show you, the number of constructor we have are limited, right? So as a result, we need to create a constructor first, which can accept file ID, caption, and label. So in here, let me quickly create a constructor. I will right click, navigate to source, and generate a constructor using field, and we will deselect file name. Remember that we have deselected file name. All right, let me save the changes. Let me navigate to the servlet. Let me create an object, and we will choose this particular constructor, and we will pass on the information, and our work is done. Now once we have this object, we will call in our data access object. So we will type in new files DAO, which is nothing but our Hibernate data access object, and we will call in update information method, and we will pass on file. Now friends, this particular method is not available inside this particular files DAO. Let me show you. Here is our files DAO. So we don't have the method, but we will create that in some time. All right, and once we have updated the information, we will then again list down our existing view, this particular view, and this view is getting generated via a method. The name of the method is listing images, right? So in here we will call in the listing images method. All right, now we will hover upon this particular method, and we will create the method inside our files dao.java file. Now friends, this particular update information method will have similar structure when compared to add files detail. So in fact, let me save some time. Let me copy these 4 statements real quick, and let me paste these in here. So first of all, we will create a session object. We will begin the transaction. We will not save, rather update the information, and we will commit. So in here, in place of save, we will make use of update method. All right, and our information would be updated. And let me check whether everything is working properly or not. All right, so in here, when it comes to this listing files, it also throws an exception. So let me hover upon this, and let me add in the throws declaration, and the issue would be fixed. Let me format things a little as well. All right, so this file is good enough. Files.java is good enough. Files DAO is also cool enough. We have also added the code. Everything looks good. Let me also check the JSP file. All right, so in here there is this issue. There is this typo. It's file ID. Let me save the changes, and now finally let us quickly run this application on the web server. Alright, so the application is up and running. Let me click on view available images link. Let me expand this. Now friends, there is a flaw in our application and we will discuss about the flaw in our next video, but let me show you how our application will update the information, but it will like create some kind of issue. So in here, for example, the label could be like crow and caption could be like bird. Let me click on update. Now here is the issue. Our label and caption got updated, but now there is no preview. Now why it happened, and what is the solution for it is something which we will discuss in our next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and take care.